Howdy kids, Bishop Hogman here. The handle, the mount for this phone, I guess, is a little low today. I've already started, so I can't adjust it, so it's just sitting in the holder. Anyways, maybe I can adjust it. No. I guess I'm gonna have to lean into it. So, I'm calling all prayer warriors. I'm in dire need of prayer for my brother-in-law. I'm just leaving Edmonton now, and I'm heading to Lethbridge, Alberta. It's, I think, about a 5 or 6 hour drive. And I'll be making quite a few moments on my way down there. But if you could please pray for my brother-in-law, Dan. They've got him in the hospital, and they intubated him. He's on life support. He's on dialysis. His kidneys, he's in renal failure. My sister called me last night in tears and asked me to go down, so I'm needing in real great need for safe travels for me and prayers for Dan and my sister Lori. She's just breaking down, and when she called me, she said, I need you, and I need you to come down now. So that's really important that she's at that point. I haven't seen her in probably 14 years. She's lived down there. I've been out here, and I've been so busy with everything going on, I haven't even got a chance to go down and see her. I mean, we talk all the time, but you know, on Facebook, and we call once in a while to each other, and I miss her dearly. I mean, I love her like a sister, you know what I mean? Like you're supposed to love your sisters. Well, and God sent me down on this one alone. You know, I hesitated to leave because I thought there for a while Devin was supposed to come with me. That's my stepson, Devin. The Lord led me that maybe he needs to come with me, and then that was my flesh saying I wanted somebody to accompany down here because sometimes I don't like being by myself. You know, I spend a great deal by myself, and you know, with all the stuff that's happened to me over the years and years, it's just an area of my brain that I don't like thinking about. You know, I was telling Rhonda last night, we were talking, and the devastation to our ministry. You know, in less than a year, Crusaders Through Jesus, we lost Miss Betty. That was Angelo Cabresi, the bishop, the main bishop down from Memphis in the States. His wife was taken from him. She had complications with diabetes. They took her leg off at the knee, and then she had complications, and she died from this. And it was a sad day, and we all mourned, but we all celebrated and rejoiced because we knew where she was going. And then after that, we lost Bev, the queen bee, you know, my wife, and that was a difficult time. It hit the ministry very hard. That the two main bishops in the ministry, the one from Canada, which would be me, and the one from the States, which would be Angelo, both lose our wives. And then shortly after that, I lose Angelo. And I look back at all my friends that suffer from these illnesses, you know, and I'm not getting sick, and I don't understand why. Because out of all the friends I know, I mean, I partied like a hardcore maniac for many years. You know, I did more damage to my physical self than I could ever imagine. You know, and I watch all these people around me get sick. You know, if you've ever read Job, and if you haven't read Job, read Job, because sometimes I feel like Job. I've lost my family. I've lost my homes. I've lost everything. I have our 11-year-old son and my sons and daughters. I mean, I still have them with the grace of God. I love them dearly. But when you watch people die and you hold their hand over the years, and then you go and pray over people for wellness and healing, you know, when Jesus said that we would have the powers for healing and to the Great Commission to make fishermen of men, you know, I don't pound the Bible. I kind of speak like Jesus does in parables because I was made in His image. You know, and sometimes you have to speak that way for people to understand. You know, when Jesus walked about and He healed people, And he touched people's hearts, and he loved people. And people loved him back. The people that follow him chose to follow him. You know? Pick up your mat and follow me. You know, it makes me sad when I see all these secular churches that hand out that money pit. You know, they hand out that silver dish that they pass around and everybody puts envelopes in. You know, tithing should be behind closed doors. It's what you choose to support the church with or your ministry. It should be done behind closed doors. Your support should come from where your heart leads you to go and what God tells you to do. I'm not one for passing out the tray. You know, love gifts are fine. I love receiving them, and I always say thank you because ministry takes money to run. You know, we get Gospel of John little texts and we hand them out. You know, Jim, he's our national treasurer, Jim Lawson. He goes downtown London and he hands out the Gospel of John booklets and Christmas cards to the homeless. And you know what? Them homeless got together in London and they pitched in and with nothing. Kind of like the woman that gave 2 pennies, but it was everything she had. Who gave more? You know, if a billionaire gives, 500 million, then he's a multi-billionaire. And a woman that's broke gives her last 2 pennies. Who gave more? It's real simple. Who gave more? That woman gave 100% of what she has. God only asks for 10. That's including your time, your heart. If you spent 10% of your time in communion with God, it would change who you are. This journey today is a journey that God has sent me on. And there's been many that He's called me to do, but I have to be obedient. My flesh never wants to go and see people sick. I spend way too much time at the hospital for you that know that. I've lived my life at the hospital for the last 5 years, 6 years. When you go into the hospitals and they know you on a first name basis, you know that you've been in there a lot. You know, when we were on 7C Oncology in London in the New Vic at the London Regional Cancer Centre, there was many nurses, and they said to me on a number of occasions, you know this hospital as well as we do because you spend more time than we do because you sleep here as well. It was my home. And you know, despite modern medicine, doing radiation and chemo, and we know that in some cases, but that's early stages. Stage 4 chemo and radiation hardly ever works. Chemo just makes you sicker, and then they fill you full of prednisone and all these steroids, and you look like a rabid chipmunk, you know? You know, I've seen 3 or 4 people and they blowed it up. Look at Bev. Bev was 110 pounds of beautiful young lady for her whole life. And at the end, she looked like her face was this wide, and it hurt me. But I never once let down. You know, I've dealt with it, and I'm free of it. And, you know, she's blessed me with some really good years. And yes, she's led me to things, and God has led me to things that are lessons. You know, I'm to help a young man out here. I was told this in London. I was coming here to help a young man. And I'm here to save his life. I'm here to change his life. You know? I found that young man. I know who that young man is. And he knows who he is. And I've told him. And somebody told me, I'm not gonna say who, but she knows who she is. She's one of my nieces, and I love her dearly. She's my brother's daughter. Although I didn't meet her until she was a full-grown adult, you know. I love her like family, like she is family. I mean, I mean, she's my brother Snake's daughter, you know, and I pray that they can make peace too, because they're not talking, you know, and that hurts me when I see that, because I've worked so hard on making family work, changing the way family think. The world is full of negative. It's end days. It's gonna be full of negative. You know, I had a discussion with my pastor one time. This was before I became a reverend. And I had a discussion with him, and we loaded up a bus. And they went down, and it was when they were legislating to legalize gay marriage. You know what? End days, it says this. It's going to happen. It's prophesied. It's written. It's there. Pay attention. Because we went down, I didn't go because I didn't believe in it, and I asked them why they were wasting their time. They went down and prayed on the steps of Parliament in Ottawa. And I said to them, why are you wasting energy on stuff that's biblical when you could be saving lives, saving souls, doing the Great Commission, you know? That's what it is. We are called to bring souls to the Lord. That's our number one concern. Despite everything else, Jesus commands us to be fishermen of men. That's why I respect people like Dawson Brown and Pastor Terry Lobel and John Preston, Big Daddy, you know? Because we all have struggles. And you know what? The ones that you look at, your people that have got God in their lives and are walking in faith, they normally have a whirlwind of chaos around them. That's because the enemy doesn't want you to succeed. And God laid it on my heart many, many years ago, and the only thing he laid on my heart was stay the course. Live by faith and not by sight, because what you see is an illusion. It's created by man, and you know what? You can't trust anything that man does. Man, with his own will, is an evil beast. That's just the reality of it. There are good men with good in their hearts. But which animal do you feed? Do you feed the loving, caring man, or do you feed that beast, that monster that's in the cage? Because I can deliver 4 minutes of a nasty gram that you'll never forget if I really wanted to. Just because I don't choose to deliver nasty grams anymore doesn't mean I forgot how. I choose not to. And that's what it all comes down to. It comes down to, okay, what are you going to do about it? What are you going to do about it? That's the reality. You know? Well, kids, I'm just pulling in the parking lot at Matthew's building here, and, you know, I'm looking for it. Oh, the truck's parked in the corner, and he's driving his friend's Toyota, so, which is nice, because it's all four-wheel drive with meaty tires. You know, like I said, keep me covered in prayer. I'm on my way down to Lethbridge. It's going to be a real long ride, and it's going to be just me and God. I have no phone. I have one if I need to dial 1911 for an emergency. But this is about relationship. Try this sometimes. When you drive, keep the music turned off and, you know, be in communion with the Father in heaven. Trust. Faith. Put on the full armor of God because you need it in this day and age. I mean, people are going to hurt people. You know, me and Bev had a picture put up, and it was a quote by Bob Marley. He says, everybody's going to hurt you. You just got to find the ones that are worth absorbing the hurt and going on and loving them anyways. Because people are human. They're in the flesh. They hurt people. That's what we do. You know, it's only when you make a decision to change that portion of your life and turn your life around. You know, what do you want to do with your life? You know, I was a hard individual. You can ask most of my friends. They know me from when I ran with the hardcore. You know, and today, that's not important to me. It's not important to me because they come and they go. They come and they go and they come and they go. The things that are really important, really, really, really important to me, family, God. God comes first, then family. You know, family's important. Because you can't count on them people out there. They may think you can, and then they'll end up letting you down. You get hurt. You build a unit, and that unit should have trust, should have honor, should have loyalty. It should have love, responsibility, respect. Conforming, confiding. Confiding means you got to trust somebody. Trust God and trust your family. You got to that shit that we all build up that causes huge PTSD and trauma in our lives that we end up needing therapy for. You know what? Deal with it at the time. We all want to. Human nature is you don't want to deal with it. You don't. Most people don't. I don't. I'm human. I'm in the flesh. Most people don't want to deal with it. But you know what? You have no choice because you're going to deal with it at the point time. Or you know what? 20 years from now, I'm going to need $5,000 worth of therapy. That's the way it works, I went to AA and NA for 29 years of my life, there's lessons there. There's many ways to get to the top. But even AA and NA they've changed a lot of the text. I remember reading the first edition of the Big Book, and we fell to our knees and we begged God. Not asked God. We begged God. They changed that in the Big Book, by the way. And you know what? When I first started there, I used to tell my sponsees that I guess it was about 9 years or 10 years clean. I used to tell my sponsees, I used to say, you know what? Go read page 449 in the Big Book. Now it's not even on page 449. I don't want to know this new Big Book. I haven't even got one. I don't waste my time with the new crap. You know what? The first meeting of NA was in BC. And it came across to Toronto, and the founding member in Canada, the guy who brought it he said to me one day, and he said it in a men's meeting, and I really don't want to say his name. I'm not going to say anything. I'm not breaking his anonymity, but I am going to say what he said because it was important. It's important for NA, AA, churches, motorcycle ministries, motorcycle clubs. It's important. It's important. There's things that are important that need to be done in order for you to feel comfortable in your own skin. But you know what? They said I don't agree. I have a hard time with them. Pick like you can make your dog your higher power. You know what? I can't even remember what year it was. I was driving truck, and everybody used to bug me about calling my sponsor because I was early in recovery. I never called my sponsor. So I bought a pit bull puppy, and I raised it up, and it rode around in my truck with me for a year or two, and I named him my pit bull sponsor. Why? Because then I could talk to my sponsor every time I wanted. So, anyways, God is always in the mix. God is great. Send a shout out to all the Disciples MC. Love and respect all of you, Dawson and James Johnson, and all the other boys. I'm not going to name all your names. You know what? You know who you are. And the Bond Slaves, you know what? Much love and respect. I'm on my way down to Lethbridge. I've got your number. I'll call you when I'm down there. Maybe on the way back, I'll stop by and we'll hang out, share some God's love, and do a coffee. Anyways, you just had coffee with the Bishop, and much love and respect, and keep your eye on your word.